If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by around June. Every subscription, every like, it really means a lot. So let's just get into it. A couple general notes about the All-Star Weekend this year. So first of all, there were so many interruptions to all the basketball. There was so much non-basketball related shit going on that it was just ridiculous. So many tribute videos, so many forced intros and celebrations and highlight reels for stuff that didn't need highlight reels. They had like a bunch of different concerts. I understand that they need this stuff in between to fill the action, but it really seemed like they focused way more on that than the actual product this year. LiAngelo Ball did a little concert. That was actually really fun. I think his mic was turned off for a decent part of it. Not fun was the little Mr. Beast tournament. The little Mr. Beast, I guess, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it was a Mr. Beast video that they did in the middle of the All-Star game. They had Mr. Beast bring this kid down, and he did a three-point shootout with Damian Lillard. It felt really forced. The kid was clearly like a plant. Like, he clearly had met Mr. Beast beforehand. Like, they clearly knew what kid they were picking, because the kid was just way too nonchalant. Like, light work, no reaction to winning $100,000, meeting Mr. Beast, and meeting Damian Lillard in front of like a massive national live television audience. Just very weird. He also said he has no one to thank except his dad, so I guess fuck Mr. Beast, fuck Damian Lillard. What they say fuck 50 for? But yeah, a lot of interruptions. Kevin Hart was also really annoying in that department, and they did this Vince Carter tribute for some reason. They were attributing Vince Carter a lot because it was like the 25th anniversary of Vince Carter's iconic dunk contest. They did a tribute for the TNT crew, which I guess made sense because they're going to be leaving the network and not doing the All-Star game going forward. Obviously, they'll still be back in some capacity on television next year. But yeah, a lot of interruptions. Then the commentary. Oh my god. Dude, the commentary was... Oh my god. Draymond Green, you suck. Draymond Green sucks so much. He was being such a negative asshole about the new All-Star Game format. He kept saying how bad it was and all the problems in it, instead of just trying to acknowledge the fact that it was infinitely better than the year before. Talking about how players in this format can't go for the scoring record in the All-Star Game anymore. Literally a meaningless award and a meaningless record. I bet most people watching this probably don't even know who has the most points all time in an All-Star Game. It's Jason Tatum with 55. He did it a couple years ago in an All-Star Game which unsurprisingly had no defense, and he got those 55 points very fucking easily. So I don't really care about you breaking the scoring record in the All-Star Game anymore, unless you're going for like 100. Then I guess it's kind of cool. But like getting 50 points in the All-Star Game is not special. So Draymond was just being so negative. And honestly, considering the product, he had like no business doing that. It could have been much worse. Reggie Miller was kind of annoying. He was not the worst I've ever heard him, but he was so inaccurate during the three-point contest. It was actually hilarious. Talking about how Buddy Hield is like getting on a heater, and then Buddy Hield proceeds to miss like 3 threes in a row. Kenny Smith was being really annoying. Kept talking about in the dunk contest how the crowd needs to warm up, and the judges need to warm up. The players need to warm up. None of those things need to warm up except, well, I guess the players need to warm up, but the scorers, the judges, they were just giving out 50s from the get-go. I don't understand why a missed dunk gets a 40, and then a made dunk that's basically an in-game dunk, which was what Andre Jackson was doing. He was doing in-game dunks in the dunk contest. He has better in-game dunks. Matas Buzelis was also bad, but those guys were getting very, very high scores. I think obviously most people would agree that they score most dunks in the dunk contest way too high. I think max dunks were actually warranted to be like 50s or 49s. But the others did not deserve like higher than... I think the highest score I would have given to any dunk from any of the other 3 competitors was Stephon Castles. East Bay behind off the missed layup would have probably gotten like a 47 from me. So yeah, I think the big problem with this All-Star Weekend was there were just too many people. Like, you had Mr. Beast here, Kai Cenat in the Celebrity Game, Drewski in the Celebrity Game. That's, I guess, a separate thing. You had 4 different coaches for the All-Star team, plus Kenny Atkinson and Mark Dagnall were supposed to be coaching, but I guess they were just, like, hanging out. I'm not really sure why. You had 4 different people passing around microphones introducing the captains before the All-Star games actually started. I say games because it's now a 3-game tournament, so they were like introducing the different captains. They kept interrupting the fucking action to do these like interviews after the first round of the dunk contest, after the first round of the 3-point contest. They're like interviewing Tyler Hero, they're interviewing Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley after the skills challenge for some reason. Like they have anything interesting to say about dribbling in circles and missing threes, because again, the 3-point shooting is optional. Again, Wemby and CP3 got disqualified for exposing that, even though it was very obvious. Then we get to the actual product. I watched the Rising Stars games. They were fine. I don't have much to say about them. I always kind of like seeing the new young guys. It's always exciting to sort of look back on them. I can recall really fondly of like Luka Doncic and Trae Young in the Rising Stars game, or Joel Embiid in the Rising Stars game, Jaren Jackson. A lot of good players now sort of were really, really exciting in those games. And I think, honestly, those games being like what the All-Star game normally is, where it's a non-competitive, 175 to 198 sort of ordeal. Like, I think the All-Star game is not suited for that, but like that's what the Rising Stars game should be, and I think that's really fun. Kind of confused how Amen Thompson managed to make it onto the team that ended up playing the actual All-Star teams, even though he was on one of the losing teams. Not really sure how that happened. I don't really care though. Amen Thompson's awesome. The 3-point contest, no one has anything to say about the 3-point contest. It was only funny that Victor and CP3 tried to cheat in the skills challenge. They should have gotten away with that. The fact that they had like some PR director come down and like give them a slap on the wrist for that was just so ridiculous and so silly. Like, genuinely, who cares? Especially when like you design the rules where this is like an obvious flaw. Like, again, they kept just interrupting the action to tribute Vince Carter for some reason. They were doing this during the dunk contest. They kept interrupting this stuff to talk about Vince Carter, to remember how amazing Vince Carter was in San Francisco 25 years ago. It was so fucking annoying. And, good for Vince. I love Vince, and I think Vince is one of, the most iconic players really in NBA history. But, like, he was just getting so much goddamn attention for a guy who has never played for the Warriors. Especially when Steph didn't get, like, any attention at all, really. Kenny spent, like, the whole dunk contest coping about how it wasn't that bad. He was like, at least he made the dunk, It's better to just make the dunk, to try, or whatever. But is it really better to make a really shitty dunk than to try and make a slightly less shitty dunk and not do it? I respected Matas for taking a 40 on his first attempt because he was trying to do something cool at least. Mac McClung really did carry though. I will give him that. Stephon Castle was not great. At least he was very energetic. I will give him that. Andre Jackson just did not care at all. You're not going to convince me that he had any interest in doing that. Matas just doesn't have any aura. Like, he's just kind of an NPC, which is not like his fault. That's just his personality, I guess. Mac McClung really did bring it all, though. He had the personality, he had the swagger, he had the Magic jersey, even though I don't even think he's on their active roster. And his dunks were electric. Jumping off over the car was sick. The double ball dunk honestly wasn't that great. One of the balls was literally hovering over the rim, so he just had to tap it in. I think it would have been cooler if it was a little bit further from the rim. Overall, a very good performance from him, I would say. One of the best we've seen in a couple years, and definitely, in my opinion, his best performance to date. So he really did save Saturday night, because otherwise, just a complete disaster. Now, the 3-point contest, I said there was nothing really to say about it, but it was even that was like pretty underwhelming. Like, we didn't even have, other than Buddy Hield in the first round, like no crazy performances. My pick didn't hit. I had Darius Garland winning. He really flamed out pretty quickly in the second round. And Mac really did save it. So I'm glad that we got to see him three-peat. I hope he doesn't come back again, or if he does, I hope he doesn't win for a 4th time, because this shit's getting really repetitive. I want to see John Morant. I want to see Anthony Edwards. I want to see Zion. I want to see Amen Thompson. Those are the guys I really want to see in the dunk contest. More than anything, I want to see a Thompson twin. But Mac has been good to this point. I'm glad that NBA stars are actually talking about how they might do it now. And then we get to the actual All-Star game. The main event, the main course of this whole thing. A lot of injuries, a lot of guys not playing. Obviously, Anthony Davis is out, Giannis is out, whatever. And then LeBron announces like 4 hours before the game, he's like, yeah, I'm just not really feeling it. I'm a little sore. I'm not going to play in this one. Okay, whatever. He's 40. Anthony Edwards misses this game with a groin contusion, and you're not going to convince me it wasn't because he was having crazy, insanely hard sex the night before. You're going to tell me that Anthony Edwards wasn't getting play. He wasn't being a freak the night before, and that's why he got a groin contusion. Fuck out of here. That's definitely what that was. 100%. But the game starts, and Kevin Hart just completely interrupts Ernie Johnson during the introduction. Who I normally don't mind Kevin Hart, but he was just being really, really annoying. It felt super forced. All the comedy felt really forced. He tried to make this porn joke, and then Shaq started talking about the size of his clothes. It was just all so boring. Draymond kept shitting on the game, but like the games were not that bad. I think the format is kind of interesting. I don't think it's perfect. I feel like they're really sort of like going through the motions of figuring it out. I definitely do think it needs some adjustments. I think 40 points is too low of a cap. I think they need to increase it to 50 if they're going to do this format again. I don't know if the winning team makes any money off of this, but I definitely think they should. That's another motivator, another incentive. It's no skin off the NBA's back. I mean, the main thing is that you just need more guys to try. We talk about this every year, but like Victor Wembanyama brought it. Jaren Jackson brought it for a decent part of this game. Kyrie Irving really brought it. But no one else really cared all that much. Steph Curry was just good. He was just happy to be there. He's just having a good time. No one else really cared enough to make it like that competitive. It was competitive enough to be like watchable, to be like, oh, I don't know, this is actually kind of a game. This is actually kind of some of these are kind of close. This game, the game with the Rising Stars was actually probably the closest one between the Rising Stars and the OGs, which was kind of funny, which honestly makes sense. Especially when you consider that most of the Rising Stars this year, like most of those guys, I think we know are going to be like very, very high-level role players at best. Stephon Castle will probably make some All-Star teams. Maybe Dalton Connect. I'm probably missing Amen Thompson's definitely going to make the All-Star team at some point. But like, yeah, the injuries did kind of cuck it. But honestly, I think that this format could be a lot worse. I'm really glad that Wemby is he's so good that he can make a completely non-competitive game at least a little bit interesting. We did get some good highlights every once in a while. Jalen Williams had a really nice alley-oop. We got a Jokic to Wemby alley-oop, which is really fun. A Steph Curry half-court shot. Really, what more could you ask for than that? But overall, man, it felt like a massive corporate event where they were trying to make All-Star Weekend seem super exciting and seem like this massive historical event. But they spent way too much time doing that and really forcing it instead of just actually just showing us the product. They just kept talking about it, and it felt so the emotion felt so fake, and there were too many tributes, and there was too much time spent trying to squeeze every last drop out of making this seem really exciting instead of just actually having an exciting product, and that made it feel just all the worse. Honestly, I don't know if that was just because it was in San Francisco. It's the 25th anniversary of Vince Carter's dunk contest. That part was really, really annoying for me. Again, the commentary needed a lot of work, especially Draymond Green. And it's just a shame that the NBA won't market it or present it properly. I think, honestly, the presentation this year was the worst part. They made it so goddamn annoying through and through. Even the color of the court was so violently blue and yellow. Like, for no reason. I liked it when it was in Cleveland a few years ago, because that was basically just a regular-ass basketball court. The jerseys were good. I'll give them that. The jerseys this year were pretty good. I liked that. Again, the format is not too bad. It's not as bad as people will make it out to be. It's not as bad as Draymond made it out to be. I mean, we have this discussion every year. If the players aren't going to try, then really the whole event it's just going to fall flat. And I think this year the players not trying was not the worst part. I don't think the players being bad in the dunk contest was not the worst part of the dunk contest. I didn't mention this earlier, but for some reason, the new fun, cool thing to do in the dunk contest is instead of having your teammates help you with the dunks, like has been commonplace for years and years and years in the dunk contest, they have random NPCs who literally can't perform basic basketball maneuvers like making layups or throwing lobs off the backboard help them in these dunks. They have like dunk coaches? What the fuck do you need a dunk coach for? You're literally a professional basketball player. But I really don't think I have anything else to say. NBA, lock in. Present this better next year. Do better next year, because I really don't think the players were the worst part of this. I think the NBA really screwed themselves, honestly. And they had way too many people as part of this. They just kept adding shit. It was like ADHD incarnate for like the entire weekend. So less is more. So that's something I really think they should take to heart next year. Try and make a product with less stuff and just make it all more high quality. But that's gonna do it for me. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I am going to bed now, and cue that music.